With all the stuff that's come out recently about Hugh Hefner and the mansion and all that, obviously you're not one of those gals that was looking for, I want to be Hugh Hefner as one of his 3 wives or any of that type of stuff. Did you ever see any of that type of stuff that we're now learning about at the mansion?
You just opened a whole can of worms because don't get me started on Holly, okay?
Go ahead.
Because that, I used to call her a friend, but she was never unhappy. She was never forced to do anything. I was a Playmate in 2002, and I saw her give can I?
No, don't use that.
I don't know if I can say.
She had a very strong.
She had a very.
We call it a head game here on the radio. She had a very strong.
They got
game.
very close. They got very close in the limo one night. One of my first nights ever going out with them, and it was all her doing, and she was not forced to do anything, and she was very happy. And I mean, I loved being at the mansion. There was never anything like uncomfortable. I mean, I loved it.
So
I
your personal experiences specifically with Hugh Hefner and physically at the mansion were nothing but good.
Nothing but good.
And that's got to be crazy, right? Like all of a sudden, no one knows who you are. You know, people know you're attractive, but you're not a known person publicly. And now I imagine that very first time you're at the mansion has got to be somewhat intoxicating. Is that the right word for it?
It was. It definitely was. And it was addicting is another good word for it because it was so fun. And, you know, I had my perceptions when I first became a Playmate of what it was going to be like and what he was going to be like, this kind of like pervy old man,
right.
You know, if we're going to be honest. But it wasn't like that at all. And I mean, I would like be there for Sunday night dinner, for Sunday movie, and like be in my pajamas and eat dinner and watch a movie and like hang out and go to bed.
So it was like a glorified sorority party, except obviously it was beyond just, hey, it was fun. It was always a party, always good times were being had. And obviously there's celebrities and other things, right? Did he really have a full-fledged zoo on the compound? Like monkeys and the whole thing?
Yes. Yeah. No large animals. No large animals. But yeah, he did. He had monkeys and small animals and tons of birds that like, he'd have these massive like birds, flamingos and African cranes and stuff that would walk the grounds. And it was really awesome. He wanted to be a vet when he was little. So that was his kind of
it's like he was just living out his childhood fantasy. Like I wish I owned monkeys. And birds?
Yeah, me too.
That'd be like, who wouldn't want to own monkeys and birds if you could afford it?
You got to clean up after that.
No, when you have that kind of money,
no, you pay
somebody
to do that.
That's right. You ain't lying. Did he ever make a move on you?
Him personally, no.
Yeah.
But when I first became a Playmate, he had 7 girlfriends.
Wow.
And one of the girls, after a night out, one of the first nights out, told me that I was welcome to come with them upstairs if I wanted to, but that there was no pressure. And I politely declined, and there was never another word said about it.
Got it.
Did you think about it?
Yeah, damn right.
Or was it an easy no?
It was an easy no for me.
She wasn't raised like a whore, Evan. Well, she was raised right. How dare you tell our guest that she's that kind of I'm mad at you, Evan.
I'm asking a question.
It was an easy no, but I did love him tremendously.
So that's good. Like that, I've not heard that story lately. It seems like everything coming out about the Hefner experience is that he was like you said, a creepy old man who forced women into doing things against their will. But your personal experience is the exact opposite. So that's good that you share that. So what's the story that a couple weeks after you go on the first date or two with Reed, you almost died? Did he try to drown you or something?
He actually saved my life. No joke. I mean, I just imagine this poor guy. Like,
well, hold on. This poor guy, he's a journeyman outfielder who's now dating a gorgeous Playboy Playmate. This poor guy, nothing. Sorry.
But he was young. I'm 6 years older than him.
Okay.
And he was only 20, just turned 23 when we met.
Okay.
And I was like almost 29. So, I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
I still don't feel bad for him. I mean,
he
lived a charmed
life.
life.
He ain't going to do any better. I can tell you that. Batting 220. Go ahead.
Oh, that's terrible.
I had to say, that's what everyone's thinking. Go ahead.
Well, no, 2 weeks in, I go visit him at spring training. And to make a long story short, I'm in his shower and I just lost consciousness. I wasn't like on drugs, nothing like that. I just had like a lot of stress, and
Yeah.
I found out later I had low blood pressure, and I just completely lost consciousness in his shower, and he had to come in and revive me. And him and his roommate Fernando Perez, who was his teammate on the Rays, it was at spring training, and they like had to like bring me back to life.
Really? Like you would literally like,
Yeah.
you were out. It wasn't that you
Well,
blacked out. Like
he
you were
found
out.
no, I was like gone, no
Wow,
pulse,
geez.
nothing. My arms were like, it was the weirdest thing. My arms were like numb for a few days after that. I went and saw a doctor, and they told me that my blood pressure just had dropped dangerously low. And
Were you
it caused
pregnant
me to,
maybe
like,
and didn't know it?
no, I wasn't.
Really?
No.
How long did it
Yeah.
take before he ran in and saved you?
I mean, I think it was only a couple minutes.
He waited a
but
little
I
bit.
like, yeah, I hope he didn't. But
He was like,
I know, but imagine him.
I'll give him
He's
mouth
like,
to mouth,
oh,
see if it works.
But imagine him. He's like, oh, this 23-year-old trying to make a name for himself. His first year in the big leagues was just the previous year, which he had like a week, so it was he was
Right.
trying to make it in the big leagues. And then like this Playboy playmate comes in and like dies in his shower.
Right.
Well,
in his
I mean,
head, it's going to be a National Enquirer story.
How long did
Yes!
23-year-old Reed Brignac kills middle-aged model.
Middle age. How old were you at the
Back
time?
then,
How old were you
I
at
wasn't
I'm sorry. How long had you been with him at the time? It was only a few weeks?
2 weeks. We had been. I had met him 2 weeks
Crazy.
prior.
That is even scary.
Okay, now I got to ask you. You know the Anna Benson story? You aware of it? What I teased at the start.
I don't know who that is.
So she was also a model. Chris Benson, right, was the husband.
Chris Benson was a pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates and the New York Mets. And Anna Benson said, listen, I know Chris won't cheat on me because if he does, I will sleep with every single person on the New York Mets.
And she meant it. Like she would have. Like she was crazy. So I'm glad that you don't know that story, but you are not making any proclamations about Reed or the AA Mets in Binghamton. Like we're not going carousing out there if he cheats on you, right?
I would say that conversation between us doesn't really happen anymore, but I'm not going to deny or admit that it may have been said something like that in the past.
I got it. God, listen, I see David right. I know. No, I'm just teasing. So
Oh, my
when the Mets were trying to find their new manager and signed Buck Showalter, did Reed have any interviews or chats with Sandy Alderson or Steve Cohen, the new owner, or anything like that?
Not for any big league jobs yet, but hopefully that's coming in the next couple of years.
Got it.
I mean, he's pretty realistic that this is will only be his second year. So, but yeah, he's hoping that'll come in the next couple of years.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on. If people want to check Lauren out, what do you have? Instagram account or Twitter? What do we got?
I have all of the social media.
All
Yes,
right. And how do they
Instagram,
find you?
Twitter.
How do they find you? Just Google your name, Lauren Anderson Brignac, and it all comes up, I imagine, yeah?
I think I'm L. Anderson Brignac on everything.
Got it. What was your Fear
Yeah.
Factor experience like? Were you a contestant or were you
I was a
did you work with
contestant.
you were? How'd you do
I
on Fear
was.
Factor? Did you win?
No, I did terrible. I was off in the first 7 seconds of the show.
Really?
And it was really terrible. Yes, it was. They selected me to go first, of course, and I fell within. It was really. I feel like it was very unfair.
What was
I
your,
was already
what was
being
the
heckled.
event that you were trying to do?
It was. I don't know what the type of truck it is, but it was this massive truck in the middle of the desert that has these wheels the size of a house.
Yeah.
And it goes 50 mile an hour down this road. And there was a flag at the end of a pole, and you had to shimmy out on the pole and get the flag and shimmy back. And they, like I said, they were already heckling me, like Joe Rogan. They were, because I'm Playboy Playmate, I'm an easy target.
Sure.
So they were heckling me. And then, of course, they selected me to go first. And then I made a fool of myself, and it made for fun on TV, whatever. But
funny,
I fell right away.
A fraternity brother of mine was on the show too, and he decided that he wanted to be known as the loafers guy. So he wore dress loafers, shoes, to the events. And one of the events was, he had to jump off the side of a building and land on the building that was next to her, like you'd see in the movies, like Jason Bourne style stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's wearing loafers. So, and they picked him to go first because he was kind of a clown. and he goes to run, and of course, he slips in the lovers,
Oh, God.
and he just fell straight down. It was awesome. Yeah, it was
I
great.
mean, yeah,
It was great.
that's about what happened to me.
Well, listen, we look forward to meeting you in person. Hopefully, your family
Yes.
is COVID-free and healthy. Most
We are,
importantly,
yes.
I know, anyone married to an athlete's got to worry about that because of the close, connection with other
Yes.
guys. But hopefully, you guys are doing well. Enjoy the weather in Tampa, and we look forward to meeting you at some point here in New York in the future. Thanks so much for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, there
Thank
you go, Lauren Anderson Brignac.